The laughter began before he even reached the registration desk. Some people smirked. Others openly shook their heads. A few whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. A tired-looking man in faded jeans, carrying a worn backpack in one hand and holding the tiny hand of his little daughter with the other, had somehow wandered into one of the country's toughest CEO bodyguard tryouts. To them, he looked like someone searching for a charity meal rather than a security career. But no one noticed the quiet confidence hidden beneath his exhausted eyes. No one knew that before the day was over, the man they mocked would leave the strongest fighter in the arena flat on the ground and remind everyone that true strength is born through sacrifice, not appearance. Before we continue, if you believe kindness matters more than appearances and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Corner for more inspiring stories that prove compassion can change lives. Ethan Carter had never imagined his life would be reduced to counting coins before buying groceries. Just 4 years earlier, he had proudly worn the uniform of an elite military unit, protecting people who would never know his name. His missions demanded impossible discipline, perfect judgment, and unwavering courage. But everything changed the night his wife, Emily, lost her battle with a sudden illness. In one heartbreaking moment, Ethan stopped being a soldier first and became a father above everything else. He left the military to raise his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, promising her that she would never feel abandoned, no matter how difficult life became. Keeping that promise proved harder than anything he had ever faced in combat. Employers admired his military background, but hesitated when they learned he needed flexible hours to care for his daughter. Bills piled higher each month. Rent notices appeared on the apartment door with increasing frequency. Ethan quietly skipped meals so Lily could enjoy warm dinners. Every night, after she fell asleep, he searched job listings while wondering how much longer he could shield her from the harsh truth that they were running out of time. One rainy evening, while scrolling through his cracked phone, Ethan found an announcement that seemed almost impossible. One of the country's most respected business leaders was searching for a new chief bodyguard after several recent security concerns. The salary was enough to completely transform his life. It could provide Lily with stability, a better school, and perhaps even the chance to dream without fear again. The qualifications demanded combat experience, exceptional judgment, and emotional control. Ethan possessed every requirement, except one thing that seemed to matter most in modern society. He no longer looked impressive. Years of hard labor, sleepless nights, and constant stress had replaced his military physique with the appearance of an ordinary worn-out father. His expensive suits had long been sold to pay bills. His polished boots had been replaced with inexpensive sneakers, showing signs of countless miles. Yet deep inside, his discipline had never disappeared. The morning of the tryout arrived before sunrise. Ethan braided Lily's hair the best he could, packed her favorite peanut butter sandwich, and brought her with him because he had no one else to watch her. She smiled brightly, completely unaware of the enormous weight resting on her father's shoulders. She simply believed her dad could do anything. The tryout facility looked more like a professional sports arena than a hiring event. Luxury vehicles lined the entrance. Muscular candidates arrived wearing expensive tactical gear, designer sunglasses, and custom fitness apparel. Many carried themselves with loud confidence, introducing themselves through stories of martial arts, championships, and private security contracts. Then, Ethan walked through the gate. The conversation slowed before turning into laughter. Some competitors glanced at Lily and rolled their eyes. Others quietly joked that babysitting services must have been unavailable. A few assumed Ethan had mistaken the location for an employment office offering warehouse jobs. Their judgments came quickly, because judging someone by appearances always requires less effort than understanding their story. Ethan ignored every comment. His focus remained entirely on Lily, who waved enthusiastically from a shaded waiting area after a kind receptionist offered to keep an eye on her. Before stepping toward the training floor, Ethan looked back just once. Lily gave him a thumbs up and the biggest smile in the room. That smile became his armor. The first rounds involved physical endurance, Candidates sprinted obstacle courses, climbed walls, carried heavy weights, and completed tactical simulations. Several heavily built competitors struggled to maintain their energy. Ethan moved quietly and efficiently, conserving every ounce of strength through years of professional training. He never rushed. He never showed off. He simply completed every challenge with remarkable precision. Observers began exchanging confused looks. How was the exhausted-looking single father consistently finishing near the top without appearing tired? The second phase focused on judgment under pressure. Candidates faced rapidly changing security scenarios, requiring split-second decisions. While many rushed into dramatic actions, Ethan remained calm. His military experience had taught him that protecting lives often depended on patience rather than aggression. Time after time, evaluators nodded as he identified hidden threats. Others completely overlooked. The room slowly stopped laughing. Respect quietly replaced amusement. Only one challenge remained. The final evaluation paired the highest-scoring candidates against Victor Kane, the company's reigning defensive combat instructor and undefeated training champion. Victor stood nearly a foot taller than Ethan, covered in powerful muscles earned through years of competition. His reputation intimidated almost everyone who entered the arena. When Ethan's name appeared beside Victor's on the scoreboard, scattered laughter returned. People believed the competition was finally over. The opening moments seemed to confirm their expectations. Victor attacked aggressively, using explosive strength to overwhelm Ethan. The crowd watched Ethan retreat carefully, avoiding direct confrontation. Some mistook his patience for fear. They were wrong. Ethan was studying every movement, every shift in balance, every predictable habit. Years of elite military service had taught him that the strongest opponent often revealed weaknesses through confidence. Ethan waited with extraordinary discipline until Victor launched one final charging attack. In one breathtaking motion, Ethan stepped aside, redirected the momentum, trapped Victor's arm, destabilized his footing, and completed a flawless defensive takedown. The enormous fighter crashed onto the mat with a force that echoed throughout the silent arena. Nobody moved, nobody spoke. Victor tried to recover but found himself completely controlled by techniques, requiring almost no wasted energy. Within seconds, the undefeated champion tapped the mat, signaling defeat. The silence became louder than any applause. Executives stared in disbelief. Recruiters reviewed Ethan's application again, suddenly realizing they had overlooked years of distinguished military commendations hidden beneath his modest appearance. Then, something even more unforgettable happened. Lily ran across the floor. Without caring about cameras, executives, or spectators, she threw her arms around her father, celebrating as though he had just won the greatest prize in the world. Ethan lifted her into his arms, tears quietly filling his eyes. In that embrace stood a man who had not been fighting for pride, recognition, or revenge. He had been fighting for bedtime stories, without worrying about unpaid rent. He had been fighting for school lunches, birthday presents, and a future where his daughter could simply remain a happy child. The CEO himself walked onto the training floor. Instead of immediately discussing contracts, he asked Ethan one simple question. He wanted to know why someone with such extraordinary skills had waited so long before applying. Ethan explained his years as a full-time father, his struggle to balance work with raising Lily alone, and his belief that being present for his daughter mattered more than chasing prestigious careers. He admitted that life had humbled him in ways no battlefield ever had. The CEO smiled with genuine admiration. He said the company had been searching for someone capable of protecting lives. But what they had truly found was a man whose greatest strength was the heart that chose family over personal ambition. Ethan received the position that same afternoon. The company even arranged flexible scheduling and educational assistance for Lily, recognizing that supporting exceptional employees also meant supporting the people they loved most. Months later, Ethan could often be seen arriving at work wearing a perfectly tailored suit instead of worn-out clothes. Yet, one thing never changed. Every morning before leaving home, he still braided Lily's hair, packed her lunch, and reminded her that kindness would always matter more than popularity, appearances, or success. The people who had once laughed never forgot the lesson they learned that day. Muscles can impress a crowd, Expensive clothes can create first impressions. But true strength is revealed through quiet resilience, endless sacrifice, and the courage to keep showing up for the people who depend on you, even when the world refuses to believe in you. Special request before this story ends. Please leave a comment with the words, "Kindness always wins," if you believe people should be judged by their character rather than their appearance. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with your family and friends, leave a comment telling us what inspired you most, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, so together we can spread more stories that remind the world compassion, courage, and kindness still exist. Because sometimes, the strongest heroes never wear medals where the world can see them. Sometimes they wear tired smiles, carry tiny backpacks, hold little hands, and quietly fight impossible battles every single day. And when life finally gives them one chance to rise, they don't prove everyone else wrong. They simply prove that love has always been the greatest source of strength, and that no act of sacrifice is ever wasted when it is done for the people who call you home.